Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dylan. This is the culmination of my thesis. So to kind of start to talk about where I am today, we have to kind of start a year ago. And so I started looking at these two words originally, evolution and mutation. The ideas of originally the interior system in the lens of evolution and mutation, and the portmanteau of such evolution. I started looking at the precedents that we were given, and then I kind of broke away from that and looked at my own. Originally, the Montessori school, looking at the types of people that the building interacted with, children with parents, children with teachers, and how the building kind of was created. Habitat 67, a suburban landscape with a very urban kind of addition overlaid on top of it, and the Nagajan capsule tower, which was primarily for bachelors, single bachelors. And what's interesting about all three of these projects was that they all kind of spawned from a specific era, the era of imagination, and the era of mobile architecture. This is Yona Friedman, Spatial Cities, Super Studio, and Archigram. And so these three kind of projections of the future of mobile architecture was extraordinarily interesting to me. But what was even more interesting to me was the idea of mobile interiors. The fact that it was not really talked about within the context of mobile architecture in these situations. What did kind of mutate from that was the idea of the internet in the digital realm, these infinitely spanning landscapes for everyone. Not quite as tangible as these kind of mobile superstructures, but extraordinarily mobile nonetheless. We all have mobiles. And so the project that I first started to originally develop at the beginning of the semester was at 1032 6th Avenue, right up the block from another precedent that I looked at, the Shapeways pop-up store, 3Dia, where you could go and take a picture of your head and print it out in real time on a very consumer-based level. The building is 4 floors, retail on the bottom, 3 stories above, I think it was office space, and then I repurposed it into this workshop. Essentially, these red areas located on the floor plan is printing areas. And that the idea that you can print in real time your furniture, downloaded off the internet, which people model full scale every day for free, that you can download anonymously on this large open network. And so the idea of coming from out of country, coming to this place that you have no idea what it's about, and being able to go have a tour of the city and then come back to your entire living room. Already the comfort of home kind of traveling with you. And then after you'd leave, the idea of the furniture would be, it would be sold on a local level. Again, kind of bringing the awareness level back and sharing it in a very local level around this store in Midtown. The printing gantries on top followed the column grid on the project originally. And so at midterm, it really got people arguing about what was kind of the future of this kind of technology, if technology should be progressed in this sense, what happens to the designer. A lot of questions kind of spawned from that. So I decided to experiment with just the idea, the pure idea, and try to understand the future projections with technology. And so this is a diagram by OMA that I mutated myself slightly that shows these developments of technology within depressions, recessions, crises. The internet spawned out of it, the World Wide Web, the iPod, the helicopter, the laser beam. And so what was interesting to me about kind of this rapid prototyping was the control of material. Because as interior designers, we constantly control material and we control the process of crafting. We are the craftsmen, essentially. And so this is the timeline of the 3D aspect, the projected rapid prototyping future. And as you can see, further along in 2011, we already have a 3D printed car, the first 3D printed car, and the first 3D printed drone aircraft. And the fact that we can print in gold and silver now. And another 3 important events that I decided to overlay when I was born and when I'm projected to graduate Pratt. And so taking all this idea of technology and looking back at what interior designers primarily deal with, I decided to look at interior design in the context of the elementality of controlling the senses at first. This is artist Eat, Sandra Kia, and this is a photograph by David Weinberg, who is the curator of the sculpture park. He allowed me to use this image, which is totally great, of Sandro touching a piece of sandpaper while eating a piece of fruit and having his smell senses completely kind of changed with the flowers wafting in his face. And so taking that idea and how we choreograph space as interior designers with technology now, using projection at the Paradise Institute, this kind of big projection box with speaker headphones that allows you to, or was the intention of Janet Cardiff and George Burroughs Miller, to kind of embed you in this fake reality. But this fake reality has very real consequences, especially today, where you can draw in real time, track it digitally, and have it immediately happen afterwards. Have the furniture that you print out, and especially now the 3D Doodler, which was just recently finished in Kickstarter, I think, for like, I think they were going for like $35,000, and they ended up making $2 million. I was one of the $100 donors. And so another interesting way of tracking motion and recording it digitally is the eye drawings, tracking how your eyes moved and how they essentially drew things. The top right is him reading a bill, and you can kind of tell how his eyes move throughout the paper. The circle is a clock. And so this overlaid with now the power of controlling materiality and at a finite level. Now you can go online on Pirate Bay, on Thingiverse by MakerBot. There's numerous websites out there. You can download a record and print that in real time and have it play perfectly. The control to such a minute level with just vinyl. And fashion. This was in 2013's Paris Fashion Show with Iris van Herpen. And what's interesting about this fashion designer was that she worked with Neri Oxman of MIT's Material Lab. And you can kind of see how the control of material now has transformed the platform in which we all work in. And the real kind of aspects of growth from this material. This is a 3D printed concrete I-beam by Contour Crafting in the University of Southern California. And so mapping the playing field, interpreting this data that we now have. I don't know if you've noticed the book on the back originally has a bunch of drawings. I mapped 300 plus hours of my movement in the digital space. And so these are some of them. Some of them are out 1 hour, so usually about 4 to 6 hours. And the black dot represents a pause in motion in digital space, while the lines represent movement. And so this is 4 hours of analog conversation on Skype with my friend Taha, who's my cameraman today. And this is 4 hours of digital Illustrator. And when you compare them both, you can really kind of understand how we interact with space. And then now, at a greater level, with these maps, how we can control it, how we can predict the future, essentially, with what we know and what we will know from mapping these diagrams. And so I'm going to end with this. What is interior design for tomorrow when we can now project, or possibly project, what the future may hold? Thank you.